This past weekend, we traveled to West Virginia for the Homesteading-ish conference, where Ben gave 3 different talks, one of which was a talk about Homestead Pantry. We apparently had more to say, so we're going to be talking about the Homestead Pantry in today's episode.
Welcome to the Ample Flame Podcast. I'm Ben. This is my lovely wife, Meg.
You said life, which was hilarious, because that's what I am.
That works too. It does work. Yeah, I don't know what I'd do without you. You're pretty handy.
I'm pretty handy, but you're also pretty handy, so yeah, we work well together.
We make a good pair. All right, let's get down to business.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's talk about all this stuff. So, like Meg said in the opening, this was one of the talks I gave this weekend at the Homesteading-ish conference. Mm-hmm. All of my talks I gave, I had a whole bunch of notes for, and this particular talk, I actually didn't have a whole lot of notes. I don't do PowerPoint. I just talk.
Right.
I have a notepad. This notepad I'm currently holding, this was this weekend's notepad. And I just write down some talking points, some things to stick to and talk about. And I just kind of look down at my notes if I'm getting, running out of things to say. Well, with this particular talk, I didn't have to go through all my notes.
Right.
There really is a lot to talk about. Meg was supposed to get up on stage and do this talk with me.
No.
And she said, I don't do that.
I don't do stages. I was never supposed to get up with you in the first place. And they put my name on the schedule and I was like, nay, I don't do stages.
So anyways, I was up there all alone.
And you did a fantastic, wonderful job talking about our pantry. You don't even need me.
But there's a couple times Meg chimed in from the sidelines, like, wanting to talk about these subjects that I'm talking about. So what we realized very quickly was this is something that both of us feel very, very strongly about. This is kind of the whole reason we started homesteading was food.
Right. It's literally our life.
Food's a big deal.
It is.
You need a farmer 3 times a day.
Right.
Well, I guess I'm needed 3 times a day.
You are. I need you more than that.
No, just 3 times a day. Sometimes not even that.
Oh, okay.
I see you skipping meals.
Okay.
It's like, you don't need me right now.
That's right, I don't need you.
Skipping breakfast is not healthy. We can kind of riff off of my notes.
Yeah.
Sorry to anybody who was there and actually heard this talk. It's going to be a little bit different because it's going to be as it was supposed to be with Meg involved.
Yeah. I don't do stages.
All right. So in the beginning of this talk, I talked about kind of the struggles of tiny living.
Yes.
When we were living in our RV, traveling around looking for a place to call homestead, we could store 2 to 4 days of food.
Right.
And we were packed to the gills.
Yes.
Like no room. It was hard.
Yeah.
So we were shopping every couple days. Well, we went from that to we moved out here, but we didn't have a place to live yet because we were redoing the mobile home. And basically for a year, we lived in the trailer while we redid the mobile home.
The RV, yes.
The RV.
Yeah. Right.
And so in that time, we started figuring out ways we could squirrel away food and have a little bit longer than, 3-4 days worth of food.
Right.
This isn't, I feel like there's a lot of stuff I breezed over in this talk. I'm not talking about prepping.
No. So, like for us, we've never had that small amount of food in our household because I was always making sure that I had a fairly well-stocked pantry. And the reasons for that for us was never, yes, there is for an emergency aspect, but it was also for if family shows up and I need to feed a large amount of people, okay, well, if I only have a small amount of food in the pantry, I'm not feeding a lot of people, short notice. Or it was if something happens and we can't get to the grocery store for a long period, we're ill,
Yeah.
Or, in the case of when we were still living in the house, you lost your job for a period of time, but the stockpile of food that we had made it okay and we could last for a while so that you were able to make the decision to stay home for a period of time.
Yeah.
Because we had food.
Yep.
So it was never doom and gloom, sky is falling kind of thing. It's just a responsibility.
That's a good way to put it. It's a responsibility to be in some state of preparedness.
Yes, right.
And not to sound like a prepper.
Yeah.
A pejorative.
Right.
It kind of is a bad word in some circles, but being prepared is not a bad thing.
Right.
And like you said, I remember when I came home for 7 months, after that job had dried up, and we were fine, and we didn't lack for anything.
No.
It really was a amazing time. It's kind of the impetus behind all of this
Why
starting.
we're here now. Yeah.
Like, that gave me a taste of my family that I was missing, and it was like, I think something needs to change because I feel like. Anyways.
Yeah. That's a different story.
That's a whole different story.
Right.
So basically, we wanted to get back into a state where we were prepared. We were insulated from whatever.
Yes.
It's just a nice feeling to know you got just your basics put away.
Yeah. Having 2 to 3 days was very stressful.
It's very stressful because I remember being in the trailer and you open up the trailer and it's like, okay, we have a dozen eggs. That's breakfast. We have this head of Swiss chard that we're going to chop up to make the eggs go farther.
Yes.
We have 6 potatoes. This is breakfast.
Yeah.
And then you start looking for lunch and it's like, well, we've got leftovers and I don't know what we're making for dinner.
Yeah.
Guess we're going shopping.
I can only store, 5 pounds of flour and 5 pounds of rice.
Yeah.
Which doesn't feed all of us for very long.
Not really.
Yeah.
So we started our food storage.
Yeah.
And a pantry, I think that's such a kind of a broad brush approach to what I'm talking about. Like this is our larder that we're building. This is our just our pantry.
Yes.
It's not just a stockpile of dry goods. This is what we eat from, what we restock and cycle through.
Yes.
Like we're not just buying it and putting it away and never touching it. We're not buying stuff that we don't want to eat, but it's nice to have in case of emergency.
No.
The way you run a pantry is almost like a supermarket.
Yeah, it's a real working pantry. And like you said, it's in and out. It's in and out. And it's a cyclical thing where food is coming in and food is going out. And we're eating what we're storing and we're storing what we're eating. I'm not just stockpiling groceries.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of stockpiling groceries. This is always how I've run my pantry, is just keeping an extra amount of what we're already eating on hand. And that has changed a bit since we've gotten here, in as much as like what we're storing and what we're putting away. Back in suburbia and kind of pre-homesteading, it was more groceries. I would go to the store and buy, it would be canned goods and boxed goods and things like that, and some canning and some frozen food. But now with our working homestead pantry, it is very it follows the seasons, and we're that cat. It's always moving.
Always moving, ever changing.
Yeah.
As we started to go from, once a week shopping or twice a week shopping to let's go every 2 weeks to let's get back to a month.
Yes.
I remember how it used to be. We only went grocery shopping once a month back in California. Once we figured it out.
Right. Oh, yeah. It took us a while to get there.
And I want to take that back a little bit. We would go to the farmer's market every weekend if we could. It was at least
for fresh stuff.
Yeah, for fresh stuff, for the vegetables and stuff like that. Mind you, just like here, we were growing as much fresh stuff as we could, but there's only so much you can grow, and sometimes your spinach just doesn't come up or do good.
Or your cilantro goes straight to bolting.
Your cilantro goes straight to bolting.
So yes, our typical cycle was once a month for canned and dry goods and meats that we could freeze. And then once or twice a week, we'd go to the farmer's market for fresh goods. Yeah.
Once or twice a week? Once a week or once every other week is what I meant. Yeah. Yeah. It's like
weekly or bi-weekly.
Weekly or bi-weekly, we'd go to the farmer's market.
Yeah. So we wanted to get back to once a month.
Yeah, we wanted to get back to that once a month grocery trip. That worked really good for us. It really works good for a budget.
Yes.
You plan, Meg has always shopped kind of on the bulk side of things because it's the cheapest way to buy your dry goods.
Right.
It's the cheapest way to buy potatoes. It's
just
cheapest way
anything.
All of this stuff. It's usually cheaper to buy in bulk. And so the dangers with buying bulk is you're going to buy this massive box of something that you're not going to eat all of before it goes bad.
Right.
And so one of the things that we had to learn was how to consume that in a month. Well, we figured it out. We need 100 pounds of potatoes a month or 50 pounds of potatoes a month, depending on what size you buy in that shopping trip. That's what we're going to eat all month. And when we run out, we run out. We don't go get more. We wait until that 1 month shopping trip. So really working towards that goal of having, the month to month shopping trip, that requires you to have a pantry. Mm-hmm. It requires you to have a well-stocked, you have to have your own grocery store.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of how I would describe it today. Having gotten back on track, we've got our larder is stocked. One of the boys asked, they're like, "Hey, where's Mom?" I was like, "She's shopping." And then in comes Meg with a basket full of meat that she'd went, and we have a pork freezer, a beef freezer, and a chicken freezer. Yeah. And there's kind of overflow in each one of them. Well, so she's going to this freezer in the barn and this freezer in the shed, and and so she comes back and she's got all this meat, and they're like, "Oh, that kind of shopping."
That shopping, yeah.
And that's what we call it. Like, you're shopping. You go down and you pick the cut of meat that you want, and
yeah. I was grabbing the meat for the next couple days.
Yep.
And I'm going to be doing some value added stuff with brining.
We can talk about that. Yeah. Because there was a whole bunch that I just feel like I breezed over and I didn't get to talk about. It was only an hour talk. I mean, I suppose it's only an hour talk right now for the podcast, but okay. Moving on. So in 2020, when that hit and grocery stores were crazy, everything was crazy. We really needed food storage and stockpile. What was one of the things that we did in that time when everything was crazy? We had found a bulk food supplier about an hour away. Yeah. And we were able to get large amounts of grain and beans and rice, that kind of stuff.
Like 50-pound bag quantities. Yeah. Because it's cheaper. And because, our family eats, through quite a bit.
We eat a lot of bread.
Yeah. And I can't always get the amounts that I need, like at Walmart or the grocery store, because they just don't have that many on the shelf, because I'm not stockpiling for the sake of stockpiling. I'm planning for the next couple months of our eating. Yeah. So we had found that bulk food place, and that was great because, I was able to get what I needed, and they were a family-owned company and
little small business.
It was They're cool. Not in business anymore, which is unfortunate because we really loved them. They were really sweet people. But yeah, we did that. And so that was kind of the start of our stockpiling. But, she couldn't always get stuff because it was, 2020, all that craziness was going on. And she didn't have everything I needed. Like, she could get the flour and beans and rice and stuff, like the basic dry goods essentials, some molasses, sugar. But there were like other things that I was looking for to find, particularly on the organic side, that I couldn't get at the grocery store. So I had actually been shopping from Azure Standard in California when we lived there. There was a drop there, and I ordered infrequently, but I would order stuff from them and go get it and pick it up. And so as we're like...
explain in case there's someone this is the first time they've ever heard
familiar
of Azure.
with Azure Standard. Okay, so Azure Standard is also a family-owned company, but they're getting quite large.
Pretty big company.
And so they do drop shipments of groceries. And so how it works is you join a drop that's local to you, and all the people who are part of that drop order from Azure Standard, each individually via their website. And then once the cutoff closes, all the orders get packed up, sent on a truck, a big freight truck, reefer truck, and shipped to your drop at a specific time and location.
We meet in a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, or wherever your drop is scheduled. Yeah, ours happens to be in a church parking lot with a church that like the co-op does and stuff like that, the homeschool co-op. So people are familiar with it, and it's big enough to get a truck in. And so all of us who have ordered meet up at that time, and we help unload the truck, and then we all go home with our groceries. It's pretty convenient, actually.
It's really convenient.
It's really awesome. And you can get really good, organic, clean. Azure Standard, part of the reason they have that name is they have a very high standard for their groceries. So no GMOs allowed, no MSG, no pesticides, herbicides. Like, they do a lot of work and research to find clean companies. And I have seen them kick out a company, like a product, if it changes and it doesn't meet the requirements anymore.
Like, a lot of people have seen There'll be a very known brand name that's organic, and they get bought by Campbell's or Kraft or somebody, and then they change their packaging.
Yep.
And unless you're checking the label, they'll sneak in,
say like MSG or something.
They change the recipe and they start adding not good stuff. They quietly drop the organic label.
Right.
And you're just shopping. If you're continually buying the brand rather than reading labels, well, then you get, all of a sudden you're eating this junk that you've worked so hard to get out of your life.
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty dishonest.
Yeah. So they have high standards, and I appreciate that. So I had been shopping from them in California. So when we got here and we're trying to build our larder again, beyond 2 to 3 days like we had in the trailer, I looked for an Azure standard drop, and the closest one was an hour away. And we were like, okay, well, I mean, it is what it is. So we'll drive for an hour every month to go get our groceries. And
how long did we do that?
I think it was like 6 months, 8 months.
Like it
maybe.
Wasn't that long. It was like
super long.
It's a pain in the butt driving an hour to get your.
It was.
I mean, not to say that we haven't driven an hour to go to a grocery store.
Totally, but the struggle with Azure Standard, and this is like my one kind of complaint, I guess, is it is a specific day and time. Like they schedule it for you, and you have to be there at the drop to pick up your groceries unless your drop has the capacity to hold it for you. Most places don't.
Most places, like the one we were going to was at a old abandoned Kmart parking lot.
Right.
And so they unload the truck and your stuff sits in the parking lot unless you're there to get it.
Exactly. Right.
Or unless you make an arrangement, like call a friend and say, hey, can you please go pick up anything that has my name on it?
Yeah. So this could be at 2:00 on a Monday afternoon. It could be at 7 p.m. on a Friday afternoon. It could be like anytime, really.
Yep. It's just completely random.
It's completely random.
It's whenever the truck gets there.
Yes. I mean, it's scheduled.
It's scheduled, but
it's however they schedule out to hit all the drops on the way and that kind of thing. So that was difficult, being an hour away and having to go through sometimes a lot of rush hour traffic and stuff. It would turn a 1 hour one-way trip sometimes to a 4 or 5 hour trip.
Yeah, it would be
depending on traffic.
It's the rest of the day.
It was. And so we were getting kind of frustrated with that. And I was just like, you know what? I wonder if I could start a drop myself. And so I talked to a friend and put it out to her because we were new here. I didn't really know anybody. I didn't know who to tell, but I did have 1 or 2 friends. And so I asked one who was actually a huge part of the homeschool co-op here. And I was like, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And she's like, I could get you people tonight, because you have to have a minimum that you meet in order to get the groceries delivered. And so I started the drop, and within 2 months, we had enough people to meet our minimum. So for this first 2 months, I kind of had to add a little extra to our groceries, to meet that minimum. I think we started out with 10 people the first month, and the next month was 15. And then by the third month, we had enough people who could.
We were meeting the minimum.
We were meeting the minimum. And we've been operating that drop for, I think this is 4 years now.
Yeah.
So it's been going for a while.
How many members is our drop up to?
We have active members is about 189. Month to month, we have usually around 60 people.
Every single month.
Every single month, yeah.
So
it's between 45 and 60.
Yeah, it's usually a bunch of people.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
Some months are busy. Some months it's like a zoo when we're unloading that truck. And sometimes it's just like a little meetup once a month.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Not to talk about Azure Standard.
Right.
The whole podcast. So the whole reason we moved out here was to grow food.
Yes.
Let's talk about food.
Okay, yeah. We did not grow out here just to keep buying groceries.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's part of building a pantry, but that's not everything.
Right.
So what was the first thing we did when we got out here?
We planted.
We planted a garden.
Yeah, we tore up ground and planted. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but
it was I think that bed's almost 20 feet long. It's 18
25.
feet.
Yeah. That one. Yeah.
That first one?
It's probably 20. Yeah.
So I just got a shovel and I turned over this red clay and chopped up the dirt clods. I don't think we had any compost.
Yeah.
No mulch whatsoever.
Right. Nothing.
And we just planted in the red earth.
Yeah, we did.
And we got a garden.
We did.
We had I think we grew 2 or 3 ears of corn.
Yeah.
Mind you, it was August when we planted.
It was the
It was the end of July.
End of July, yeah.
That was when we planted. We got here in June. And in the middle of
June,
tearing up a house, we
tried to have a garden.
That's all we planted a couple green beans, a couple peppers. I don't think we got any peppers.
I don't think so, no.
But we did get green beans. We did get some corn.
Yeah. A tomato plant or two.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't very much.
A couple tomato plants.
Yeah.
We did get some tomatoes.
Carrots, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were successful. Our very first try here in this earth, this red clay, we did actually grow a garden.
Yeah.
And so I would say, like, we did eat some stuff, but there wasn't very much. I remember the green beans were really good.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until the next spring that we planted a lot more ground, and we got some compost in here.
Right.
And we started really, like, growing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first carrots, the first beets, the first everything that came out of this ground was the sweetest I have ever tasted. I am amazed every time I pull a carrot or a beet or any root crop, even radishes. Mm-hmm. Everything that comes out of our dirt is sweet.
It is.
And it wasn't that way in California. We grew the same stuff. So I don't know if it's our terroir or what it is. Maybe it's just the so like excited that we're growing our own stuff that it just tastes better. I don't know.
That could be it.
Like, that's probably what it is. It's like, oh,
really
look at this beautiful carrot I grew. This is going to be so good. And then you eat it and it's like, it's so good.
It's the best carrot I've ever had.
Whether it's not.
Right.
So after the garden, what was it after that? What was the next pantry item we got lined up?
We got chickens real quick. I think we got the chickens before we got pigs.
Chickens were very first.
Yeah.
Because we were here a couple weeks and someone was like, I have 7 chickens you can have.
Yes, that's right. And that was a huge blessing. We were like, heck yes, we'll take your chickens.
Well, it was immediate eggs.
It was.
These were red stars. Yeah, red stars. Mm-hmm. And they were about a year old or 2 years old.
They were 2 years old.
They were old ladies.
So we weren't getting like everyday eggs from every one of them.
But 7 chickens for 6 people.
It was 6 people.
Yeah, 6 people at the time. We did have eggs.
Yeah.
And immediately, and if you've ever had chickens like red stars, they lay really good.
Yes.
And so most of these chickens we got about 6 eggs a day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was enough to keep us in eggs until we got more chickens.
Right.
Which we did.
Yeah.
So that was something I feel like I breezed over in my talk, was not talking about eggs.
Yes.
Eggs are an amazing pantry item because if you get your eggs and you don't wash them, they keep on the counter.
Yes, they do. Now, I mean, if they're disgusting, they won't keep for very long. But yeah, as far as like not having to worry about refrigeration, and not having to go grocery shopping, you can walk out and go get eggs out of your coop, and you don't have to refrigerate it. So that's a huge one for us is eggs. And then always how I have viewed the chickens, and I think you too, is once the chickens are not laying eggs anymore, then they become meat. So that's another like meat available to us.
All right. So moving on from chickens, the next animal we got out here was pigs. We got them in October, November of 2019.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause it was right out the gate and we were not ready for them. Yeah, it was kind of stressful. It was a crash course. I'd never had pigs. I'd never raised pigs. But they're American guinea hogs, which are a very easy breed to deal with.
They are.
Super likable, super friendly, super gentle.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your bad apples in every breed,
right.
but our experience with them has been great.
Yeah.
They've been
low breakout rates.
Yeah. They only break out when they're out of stuff to eat and
Yeah.
they're hungry or they've drinking all their water and you haven't paid attention. That kind
Right.
of stuff. I mean, I would break out too.
I would too. Yeah, totally.
So like with chickens, yeah, I have that in my notes. They can live almost indefinitely on 2 feet.
Yes.
You don't need a refrigerator
Right.
to keep chickens if you have meat chickens. Now, I will say there's going to be people like, have you ever tried to eat an old layer bird?
Right.
You got to cook it for 12 hours
and we have
before you can eat it.
Yeah.
And we have.
Yeah.
Sometimes those birds are so tough because they're so old
Right.
that the only thing you can do is make stew out of them.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of... Get an old French cookbook.
Yes.
Coq au vin.
Right.
And there's all kinds of recipes on how to cook an old tough rooster.
That's right.
If you think about it, the meat bird is since the 1900s, broilers didn't become a thing until, gosh, the 50s, 60s?
Recent history.
Recent history.
Yeah.
You know, like our parents or at least grandparents' lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So these broilers and needing all this refrigeration is a new thing. Our great-great-grandparents would have walked out in the yard, snatched up a chicken, and that's dinner.
Right.
Tough or not.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess that's kind of my high and mighty thing is like all these people, oh, but they're so tough. And it's like, yes, that's how they're supposed to
Right.
be. That's like,
how a natural...
I might make people mad, but a lot of the American diet, I just call it mush mouth.
Oh, totally.
Like our food has become so soft and squishy. Everybody's jawlines are slack because nobody has to chew their food anymore.
Well, even like going this weekend, and so we have our own jerky that we made. Mm-hmm. We were almost out of it, so I bought extra jerky at the store to take with us.
Yep.
And oh my gosh, those two side by side, like we ate them at the same time, and the side by there is no comparison.
We had one bag of our jerky.
Yes.
And then
which you have to chew.
You have to chew. It's jerky. It's like, dried meat.
Yes.
And then this stuff from the store, and it's organic. It's like, it's good jerky.
Yeah, I bought the cleanest jerky I could get. And it almost dissolves in your mouth.
It's so tender.
Yeah.
That you can bite it across the grain and your teeth just sink through. Honestly, it's about the same texture as like fruit roll-up. That's what it reminded me of. It's like eating a fruit snack made from real fruit.
Right. Because
you can just bite through it. That's not how jerky's supposed to be.
No, you're supposed to chew it.
We've shared our jerky with other people, our friends. Hey, you want a piece of jerky? Sure. And they, it's a little tough.
It's hard.
And then, they start eating it. They're like, this is really, really good.
And what we will hear, like you and I have said, is this reminds me of jerky from my childhood.
Yes.
Because that's what jerky's supposed to be. It's supposed to be dried meat. And we get this stuff from the store now. And it's like, it's
food.
Not dry, for one.
It's not dry. It has a moisture content and it's not moldy. Like, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time keeping stuff from molding if it has a moisture content like that.
Yeah.
What are they putting in it? Yeah. What's in those little do not eat packets?
I know, right?
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, this is a total tangent, but
this is a tangent.
Yeah.
Talking about the need for refrigeration for processing your own meat, I feel like I really spent too much time talking about refrigeration and stuff like that, but it does really go into your larder. Mm-hmm. The way we've built our larder is we don't want to have to rely on refrigeration so much.
Right.
For one, we don't want to have 50 refrigerators and freezers around the property.
Because it's expensive.
It's expensive to keep all that equipment running, and if the power goes out or one of your freezers quits working, which we've had happen, you'd lose all that meat unless you catch it.
Right.
Which you usually don't.
You usually don't.
You notice, hey, that looks like a lot of flies around that freezer.
Right.
Oh, no.
Or what's that weird puddle of colored stuff?
What's that puddle under the... Oh, no. And then you have to figure out how you're going to deal with all that meat in that freezer that is now a nasty...
slimy mess. Anyways. Yeah. Yes. So, because of that, we think a lot about how to keep our meat without refrigeration.
Mm-hmm. Okay, enter the beautiful, wonderful, multi-use pig.
Yes.
So when we started eating pork, when we started raising our own pigs and processing our own pigs, I didn't know how to process pigs. This is something I had to make myself available. Anybody I even heard, like I wouldn't hardly know people and be like, hey, can I come help? Mm-hmm. Just so I could get some experience butchering. And so in the first year, I probably did 10 pigs.
Yeah.
By the second year, it was about 30. And then by like the third or fourth year, I mean, I'm probably sitting somewhere around 100 pigs I've processed.
Yeah, we stopped counting after 62, I think.
Yeah, like it's a bunch.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to process 24 just on
this
our
year.
property.
Yeah,
this year, just ours.
Right.
Just for us. Mind you, some of them are still small, but
I'm still processing a pig.
You're still processing the same way, whether it's a big animal or a small one.
Right.
So with pigs, there's a lot of charcuterie that I don't think a lot of people realize is stuff you can do with pork.
Can we back up for just a second?
Sure.
And I just want to mention that one of the most beautiful things about no refrigeration is like animals keep really well on the hoof.
Yes.
Or on their legs if
Yeah,
it's a chicken.
If it's a chicken.
So that's one of the greatest ways to store your meat is by keeping it in your yard until you're ready to eat it.
So I suppose the only struggle there is like, okay, what if we have a pig?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to just keep this pig in a pig pen or in the yard or whatever indefinitely?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to feed it to keep it around?
Right. So you have to feed it.
So one of the things we did, because of the time of year right now, the acorns are falling right now. And the first time we got here, there's a funny thing that happened. I have a book. I was reading about it. In 2019, the entire eastern seaboard's oak trees had a mast year. And what a mast year is it's like every 2 to 5 years, an oak tree, just for some odd reason, decides it's going to produce 1 million acorns. And this tree will just, I just heard an acorn hit the farmhouse roof. These trees will just go in overdrive and overproduce acorns. And then the next probably 2 years, they might not produce acorns at all. But it's called a mast year. Well, something weird happened, and science doesn't understand why, but in the year of 2019, the entire eastern seaboard from far north into Canada all the way down to Florida, every single oak tree masted at the same time.
That's crazy to me.
And so, we move out here, and it's like, holy cow, there's a lot of acorns. And so I started paying the boys by the pound. Hey, if you bring me, a pound of acorns, I'll give you $1.
Yeah.
Or
$2.
It was $2 a pound.
Yep.
And so I was like, I'll be out a couple bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, these boys start bringing me 5-gallon buckets full of acorns.
Yeah.
And at one point, I had every trash can and bucket and container I could find on this place full of acorns.
Yeah.
And so what do I do with it? I feed it to the pigs. That is a great protein source. And they love them.
Yes.
And so I've done that every year, assuming, there's acorns to pick up.
Right.
Or, if the boys want to do that. The older two figured out that's too much work. They're above that.
For $2 a pound.
For $2 a pound.
Yeah.
But then they saw their, the middle boy, Brett. He's like, $2 a pound. Look at all these acorns. I'm going over here and I'm going over there.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm getting off on a tangent.
You are.
Brett, when I had to pay Brett like $150 for his acorns he'd harvested, it was like, okay, guys,
maybe we can't.
Maybe I made a mistake. This is a lot of acorns.
Yeah. So when we're talking about keeping them on the hoof, that is a consideration. Is you have to think about feeding them, but it's a great way to keep them if you're more concerned about like refrigeration.
Yes.
If we're talking about food in your larder,
yes,
it can be on the hoof.
Yes.
Because you can, butcher a pig. And then your next point comes into play.
So the next point is charcuterie. So I'm in an interesting place in my life. I have learned a lot of different things since we moved out here. We've been out here 6 years, almost 7. I've learned how to butcher animals, particularly pigs.
Right.
Pigs, cows. I already knew how to butcher chickens. But with that, I've learned charcuterie. We've both learned charcuterie.
Yes.
Purpose to learning charcuterie is like, you hang a ham up in your kitchen, and when you want some tasty ham, you just cut some off, right? Like that was what I thought it was. Well, there's so much more to charcuterie. There is salting, smoking, curing, canning. Like there's all these different things you can do to preserve the meat. I'd always heard of smoking, but I didn't really understand it.
As far as a preservation
as far as a preservation, like I've smoked plenty of meat to perfection.
For immediate
Boston
eating.
butt and brisket and stuff like that. That's the nomenclature today. Is when you say I'm smoking meat, you mean you're making some
barbecue. Yeah, right.
Or however you refer to it. Well, smoking 100 years ago meant you have hams hanging in the smokehouse and you're keeping smoke on them all the time.
Right.
Until they're dry enough you can eat them.
Right.
So.
And they're preserved.
Yeah. The smoke actually preserves the meat.
Right.
Now, there's more to it than that. It's not just the smoke, but There's a lot of salting and stuff that goes into that. Well, we kind of went after that. We wanted to learn about that. We wanted to learn about the preservation because, hey, what if you don't have power?
Exactly.
You know, what if you've got a great big fridge setup that's got all of your hams in it, your country hams or your prosciuttos or whatever you got, and the power goes out, and then all that stuff goes bad.
Right.
Well, that'd be a bummer.
Yeah.
So not only did we learn this stuff, and it is easier with refrigeration, I will say that.
Yeah, because the first step is getting it to the salted point, and that has to happen under refrigeration or under a certain temperature.
Yes.
And so if you don't have a consistent winter temperature for a long period of time, which ours fluctuates.
It's been very challenging.
Yeah, we do keep ours under the cure, under the salt, in a fridge.
Yes. So this is for making prosciuttos.
Well, and the copas and everything.
The copas, I think we could probably do, because they don't have to cure for a month right.
So if we had a consistent temperature for, a week or so.
We're going to tangent off the prosciuttos for a minute. So prosciuttos were something that were done in a more steady climate. Our climate in the winter fluctuates too much. We have warm days and cold days, and paying attention to it, I think at the longest we'll have 2 weeks where it's like cold.
Yeah.
And then it'll warm up for a brief period.
Enough for flies.
And then it cools back down. We had Doug and Andy of Hand Hewn Farm out for a class, and we were talking about temperatures. And they're like, you cure this for a month in the fridge, and then you hang it up and you let it dry. And I interjected. I was like, if you're in a cold enough climate, because we had people that traveled from Minnesota and stuff like
Pennsylvania.
that. If you have a cold enough climate, and they're kind of giving me this weird look. I was like, us here in North Carolina in February, in the middle of February, we'll get into the 80 degree mark. And they just looked at me. They're like, are you serious?
No.
I was like, yeah, I'm serious. We've lost quite a few prosciuttos because we process in January. The month of January, they're under the cure, the salt cure. And then we hang them at the beginning of February. And 2 weeks later, they have flies on them.
Right.
And they were aghast. They're like, we didn't know. Is that normal? And I told them, I was like, for 6 years we've been here. Yes, it's been every February. We have a little warm spell, and then it might get a little bit cold, but after January, we're done with the cold. Yeah. Like the bitter cold. The consistent bitter cold.
Yeah.
So,
that's something you have to take into consideration if that is going to be part of your larder, and you're trying to not use refrigeration.
Something I didn't even talk about. So, talking to locals, talking to old timers, anybody who wants to talk about curing meat down here, I will talk to.
Yes.
So everybody around here goes, you make prosciuttos? Yeah, I've never heard of that. We make country hams down here. Right. And so I started looking into country hams. Well, the whole process is a lot different. And there's a lot of people I've talked to. They're like, I hate country ham. It's so salty.
It is.
And so learning the process. Okay, so you take a ham, just like you would with a prosciutto. You bury it in a box that's full of salt.
Right.
You completely cover this sucker in salt. And you leave it. And you don't process that animal until you're headed into the coldest part of the year. You will leave this box of salt in your, the darkest part of your barn. In the cold weather where there are no bugs, and the salt is going to make sure no bugs get on it.
Right. Or even a root cellar would be better.
Even a root cellar would work.
Place, yeah.
And you let that sucker sit in that salt box for a month. Well, then you take it out, you wash it off, wash as much salt off as you can get. Mind you, this is going to be very, very salty.
Yes.
And then you cover it in a rub of salt and sugar and pepper, and every family has their own recipe. And then you stick it in a pillowcase. You wrap it in paper, stick it in a pillowcase, tie it up tight, and you go hang it in your barn, and you come get it in a year. And after that year, it's going to be a little bit fuzzy. It's going to look gross. You're going to carve off all of that outside crust that it's got, and then you slice it up and you fry it for breakfast.
Yep.
And so learning that's what they do in, here in North Carolina, the southern states. And you have to, because we have those fluctuating temperatures.
Yes.
Learning that, it was kind of like a light bulb went off.
Right. We've yet to do that.
We have yet to do it.
It's on the list.
Yep. We keep running out of pork.
I know.
Part of the struggle is we're feeding such a large family. Sometimes it makes more sense to just either grind or leave it as a ham to eat fresh.
Yes.
A fresh ham.
Right.
Because cutting up the meat and then, hey, we're not touching it for a year is a hard commitment.
It is, yeah. Yeah, because we're quote unquote out that meat, that 30 pounds of ham for a year or two. Yeah.
It's kind of weird getting into the curing of meats because you're planning ahead for next year's larder. And so that's been interesting. As we've started doing it more and more, and we're, saving more and more meat to put towards curing. It's like, okay, well, like this prosciutto will be ready next year. This prosciutto will be ready, wherever.
Yeah.
Usually we butcher from the time it gets cold, which it's starting to get cold now, probably next month in October. It will be cold enough we can start processing pigs. And once it consistently stays cold, I'll continue to butcher pigs all the way through January. And January is really my cutoff. I like being able to hang the carcass outside. That's been kind of a struggle too, is because sometimes I'll process a pig and it never gets above freezing the entire day. And then nightfall happens and that carcass freezes stiff, solid. Yeah. So that's kind of been a struggle, but I feel like I'm rabbit trailing.
Yeah, so that's actually something that's been a huge part of our homestead larder is the process of planning ahead. And so, like, we actually were just sitting on the porch drinking coffee this morning, and we were talking about the upcoming pig season, meat season. We call it meat season.
Meat season.
And you were like, yeah, I'm going to do this and this and this cut with these pigs, and then I'm going to grind the rest. And I was like, well, don't forget about copas, because we have to plan our pizza making for the year because we don't buy pepperoni anymore.
Yes.
We have gotten to where we use all of our cured meats when we make pizza. And
which
so
kind of stepped up our pizza game to where,
oh my gosh,
like,
it's fantastic.
We don't want the pepperoni.
We don't want pepperoni
because that's another one that I would like to get into making is like pepperoni.
Yes, we will, and that's one of those instances where we do need controlled refrigeration.
Yes,
because of the process involved. But
a humidity chamber is what we're after,
right? Because that involves like grinding the meat and fermentation and all that kind of stuff. But when we're talking about toppings for pizza right now, we mean whole muscle cuts, copas, lonzas, that kind of thing, and they're cured. And so we're planning ahead. We're going, okay, well, we eat pizza. We try to eat pizza once a week. It doesn't always work, and we go through seasons where we don't eat for a while, but generally we eat pizza once a week, and it's like about a half a copa depending on the size for one night's pizza.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, that's going to take no this many copas.
We're going to need 50 copas
for a whole year
if it's just copas. So let me break it down. You get 2 capicolas off of a pig. You get 2 lonzas off of a pig. Another one that's fun to make is Canadian bacon.
Yes.
You take the entire loin, you salt it, cure it, and then you smoke it.
Right.
And then you
dry it. Yeah, just like the copas and stuff. Not for quite as long.
There's still a moisture content.
Right.
Yeah, it's still a little fresh, but it's cured.
So you do have to cook it. Yeah. But it's
going on pizza.
Right.
And so we then slice it up super thin and put it on pizza, and then you can have homemade Hawaiian pizza with the best Canadian bacon you've ever had in your life.
It's so good.
And it's not so much that there's a fine line between enjoying food and becoming a food snob. And I very much don't want to be a food snob, but there is some stuff that I'm like, y'all have no idea what you're missing out on. Like,
so
this is the best ever.
So true.
But like, we enjoy food.
We do. And we've enjoyed it even more since we've been homesteading, and we're like diving into all of these things.
Learning all these things.
And, doing it all ourselves instead of just buying it at the grocery store. But it does take a lot of planning because we're not just going to the grocery store to buy these things.
Yeah.
We have to go, okay, well, we've got this many pigs and we want to eat pizza this many times. And so that means we got to do this, and that, the other thing. Yeah.
There's 52 weeks in a year. If it takes half a copa per pizza.
Right.
Or per pizza night.
Yeah. It's like 25 copas.
25 copas.
26.
26 copas. Yeah.
That's a lot of pigs.
When you only get 2 out of a pig.
Right.
It kind of puts it in perspective.
It does.
And so you got to kind of mix and match. What are we making out of this pig? Because pork chops, that's your loin.
Right.
So if you want pork chops, you're not going to get your Canadian bacon or Lonesa.
Right.
So it's
your
been a
copa
struggle.
is your shoulder, which is good grinding. So you're not going to get as much.
I mean, your shoulder, that's your Boston butt. We're
right.
speaking all this lingo and people might not follow, but if you are getting into this, you will speak this language eventually. You will learn this stuff.
Yeah.
You will, at least.
And you'll get into the rhythm.
There's a lot of people that don't want to learn to butcher their animals. Mm-hmm. I would highly recommend it because it gets you more connected with your food.
Yeah.
At the very least, just try a bigger animal once.
Well, 2 years ago, we had Becky from Becky's Acre Homestead come out, and she was like, I don't plan on butchering my own animals anytime soon, but I'm coming out to learn so that when I go talk to my butcher and I'm ordering stuff, I know where it comes from and what to do with it. Mm. And she just wanted more knowledge to prepare herself with for cooking her food and her purchases. It was like arming herself with good knowledge for her purchases. And even that right there is just worth it.
Yeah.
And then you know how to cook it better and that kind of thing.
All right. So the last animal I have on here, I notice we're running short on time. So the last animal is the cow. Mm-hmm. We have raised out our own beef, and I slaughtered it and butchered it. And it was a very big job. He was a big steer.
Yeah.
He was a very big steer. He was 1,350 pounds. Big boy.
Yeah.
And it was really eye-opening because there's so much to deal with. Mm-hmm. So very much to deal with. And there's the fresh cuts, your steaks and your, all of your grind and dealing with all that stuff. There are some curing things you can do. We already talked about one of them. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Your jerky. We probably took 20 or 30 pounds worth of round off the back quarter, and I marinated it and made jerky.
Yeah.
And it was some of the best jerky I've ever had.
So good.
I feel that I've gotten better making jerky.
Yeah. It's a process.
It is.
Yeah.
All of this. Learning how to cook is a skill. It's a skill that people don't realize. This is a trade skill. It's like a blue collar skill.
Yeah, totally.
Learning to cook and cook well, and not just cooking of the food, doing other things.
Yeah.
The value added things. Why don't you talk about some of the value added stuff that you do with beef? Because a lot of it is amazing. So
one of the biggest things I do with the beef is corned beef. Mm. So, I know, right? I just pulled out 3 briskets from the freezer when I went shopping today from our freezers, to corn some beef. We have found that, we'll eat barbecued smoked brisket just fresh, and we don't hate it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's fine.
But it ain't near as good as
we have found that we really like corned beef. And so it's a very simple and easy process to do corned beef. It's just wet salting, basically. So you make a brine with salt and peppercorns and bay leaves and, that kind of thing. And then you stick your brisket in there and you let it sit for about 10 days. And then you pull it out and do a clean soak, with fresh water. And then you
pull some of the salt back out.
Pull some of the salt back out, yeah, because it can be too salty. And then you boil it like you would any other corned beef. Usually I stick mine in a crock pot for a couple hours. It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good. And then we'll do corned beef hash the next day with potatoes and eggs and corned beef. Or I can take that corned beef and I'll hand it to you and you go smoke it. And then we get pastrami.
Which is so good.
Also just as good. We also take the tongue and I'll pickle tongue. I pulled those out too.
You're pickling some tongue?
Yes, some pickled tongue.
People just heard that and went, ooh.
I know, it's just salted. It's not, I think because when I think pickling, I think of pickles, in a vinegar thing. And it's not that way. Pickled is just an old term for, corned is kind of the same thing. It's just a salted brine. So that'll go in the brine as well with the brisket this time around. I'll pickle the tongues and it gets the same treatment. And then I boil it until it's cooked and then you have to peel it. The tongue, it has a membrane on the outside. You got to peel it.
The taste buds. You got to take all the taste buds off.
And then I'll slice it real thin and we'll eat it on a sandwich. And it's delicious.
Oh, it's good. You can eat it the way the Basque restaurants serve it.
Uh-huh.
You just slice it super thin on a deli slicer.
Yeah.
and then
Put a vinaigrette on
put
it.
a drizzle of vinaigrette over the sliced up meat, and then you just sit
You
there
just
and
eat it.
just daintily eat it off a plate.
Yeah.
It doesn't even look like a tongue once it's sliced thin like that.
No, and it tastes like roast beef.
It tastes like roast beef. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh, I would never. And then I remember having a company Christmas party at a Basque restaurant one time, and the plate of tongue comes out, and a couple people hadn't heard that Basque restaurants will serve pickled tongue. And they're like, oh, what's this? And they start eating. Oh, it tastes like roast beef. This is really good. And you see the people that know, they're like, hey, that's pickled tongue. Oh,
what? I can't believe
I just ate that. And us,
yeah,
because we eat everything, we would wait until the entire table got eked out because it's tongue.
Right.
And, well, if you're not going to eat it, I'll
send it.
Send it. And so pickled tongue's good.
It is so good. Yeah.
What other value-added stuff do we do with beef?
With beef? I mean, I'm like, I can't.
I mean, beef, it really is what's for dinner.
It is, yeah. We eat a lot of beef fresh.
A lot of the beef, we don't cure as much beef outside of jerky and pickling stuff. You might can stuff.
Yeah, I do canned beef. I'll can stew meat and stuff like that. But as far as the beef goes, we don't do as much in the curing, like second stage kind of stuff.
I think it really does boil down to we like eating the beef as, fresh meat. Whereas the pork, we do like eating the pork fresh, especially sausage.
Yeah, good fresh sausage.
Sausage.
Good, yeah.
We could get off on a tangent about curing sausage, not curing sausage, making sausage.
Yeah.
That's a whole rabbit hole. There's so many sausages we've made, and they're all good.
They are.
And there's never enough of them.
That's right.
Because we run out of pork.
Yes.
Because we're spread too thin.
Yes.
We're trying to save some for fresh eating, and we're trying to cure some, and we're trying to make fancy sausages, and then it's like we're out of pork, and it's March, and we butchered in January.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's the struggle.
We love it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about the dairy side of cows? And how that added to our larder when we had a dairy cow.
We can do that.
Yeah.
So when we had our dairy cow, so basically we went to Homesteaders of America. We saw Sean and Beth Dougherty talk about the family milk cow and how it'll feed your entire homestead. And boy, they were correct.
Yes, they were.
So we got this cow, and it was like, y'all don't know what you're talking about. This cow's going to give us barely enough milk. We're going to drink it all because you don't know how much milk the boys drink.
Right.
It was true for about 3 days.
Yeah.
When we first got her, she was still pretty fresh. And so she was given about 3 gallons a day.
Yep.
And the first day, I think the boys drank 2 gallons.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we had that gallon left over, and we milked 3 more gallons. Now we're at 4 gallons.
Right.
That's 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
And so within a week, we had 7 gallons of milk just floating around the fridge.
Right.
And it was like, uh-oh.
We got to do something with
We got to do something with this.
Yeah.
So out of necessity for room, because we got to be able to have a place to put the fresh milk that's coming in, you started doing stuff with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a couple rounds of hard cheese. And then I had some contamination issues. And so I was like, I just don't have the brain power for this right now. I mean, it was my own fault, It was like, I'm doing too many things.
Yeah. Trying to do it all.
But we would make butter, and we would make ice cream, and I would make fresh cream cheese, and I would make our farm cheese.
Queso fresco.
And then I blend that till it's smooth, and I make ricotta. And then I pack it in jars and stick it in the freezer. And so I've got like ricotta / cream cheese kind of stuff ready to go all the time. And I'd make yogurt, and we were making everything I could possibly make that we would eat.
And we still had milk coming out our ears.
Yeah, we did. And so we would just feed it to the pigs.
Oh, man.
Which turns it into tasty bacon.
So I would say the year we fed the most milk to the pigs, we had the biggest, tastiest pigs I've ever eaten. Like, these pigs were all, I don't think any one of them was under 350 pounds. Like,
they were massive.
Pigs. And in like 7 months.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like, we grew them out so quick. And after we got rid of the cow and we didn't have the milk anymore, that next year's pigs weren't as big. And it was like, why are our pigs so small?
Yeah.
Well, forgot that one little part of the equation is they were milk-fed pigs.
Right. So we plan to get a milk cow again We're just in a season where it's like, that would be one too many things to do at the moment.
Currently building a house,
Yeah.
it would just be the straw that broke the camel's back right now.
It would. But it adds a huge, huge benefit to a homestead larder, a pantry, and, food sources.
So, like, one of the main benefits of a cow that I guess I never really thought of is they just eat grass.
They just eat grass.
Like, they mow your lawn and you go milk them and you get tons of milk.
Right.
Like, the concept had never crossed my mind.
What, we had to feed it? Yeah.
It was like, wait, like, I don't want to mow down there because I always get the lawnmower stuck. She goes down there. She doesn't get stuck.
Right.
And she mows it happily.
Yes.
Like,
and then gives us milk for it. Yeah.
Like, this is a no-brainer. This is a winning deal right here.
Yes, totally.
There was places where it's like, I don't want to go over there. That's at the edge of the woods. I don't want to get over there with my weed whacker and clean that up. Let's make a paddock and include that. And then you come out, a couple hours later and she's demolished everything that I didn't want to get in there and deal with.
Right.
It's like an all-terrain weed eater.
Yes, yes. It's like, fantastic.
Cows are amazing.
They are, and they're fun.
They're fun. I miss having a cow.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's going to wrap up our discussion in this episode. We are going to go right into the after show, where I would actually like to talk about more of what our actual pantry looks like for us, what our working pantry looks like on a seasonal basis, and how we kind of do the in and out thing. So we're going to do that. We're going to stop this discussion. If you guys would like to join us in the after show, you can find us on Patreon. It's exclusive for our Patreon members. You can find that at patreon.com/ampleflame. You can go be a member over there. There's various tiers. You get different perks for each tier. But that's been fun doing the after show over there. We just talk. We go a little bit deeper. Sometimes we're a little bit sassier, a little more relaxed. And in this case, we'll be going into more detail of what it looks like for us in our pantry. Okay, well, in that case, we will catch you guys on the next one.
Bye.